All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So I think it was at 2:36 a.m. Aaron Wilson broke the news that the Jets are signing wide receiver Tyler Johnson, formerly the Buccaneers and the LA Rams. Now, I'm actually a big fan of this, big fan of this signing, right? Because back at Minnesota, I loved him. I loved Tyler Johnson, right, and Rashad Bateman at the time. You look at what those two receivers were able to do in PJ Fleck's offense. I mean, man, they were relied upon heavily, right? I mean, Johnson had the back-to-back not just 1,000-yard receiving seasons, 1,000-plus-yard receiving seasons. He had, 12 touchdowns his junior year, 10 touchdowns his senior year, 24 combined touchdowns in his last 2 years in college football in the Big Ten, right? I mean, just especially back then, think about all those great defenses. Minnesota really started to look alive once PJ Fleck and, those receivers started, to get going. And they also had a pretty dynamic running game as well. But I liked Tyler Johnson a lot coming out of the draft. And then the Bucs scooped him up. And he was kind of one of those guys where, like Brady always has, his guys, even going back to the Patriots days, those like lower on the depth chart types of wide receivers, guys that, maybe would have one skill set that would be really, really beneficial for Tyler Johnson. It was kind of that contested catch ability. Johnson has that background in basketball. So at times you see him box defenders out. You see him go up for the 50-50 and come down with it. And when you're talking about a guy in Ted McMillan at spot number 7, I know a lot of people are basically not necessarily souring off of McMillan, but it's more so like, what have you done for me lately? And or kind of like out of sight, out of mind. McMillan has not been working out. It's not like he's dealing with an injury. He just hasn't worked out. And the big question with him was 40 time, right? That straight line speed. If McMillan doesn't have that, and McMillan doesn't run a 40, that's why I think we're seeing a lot of slips in mock drafts and whatnot. Daniel Jeremiah and everything, because before the combine, McMillan he looked to be like a top 10 lock. But again, I think it's just the hovering question about top end speed with McMillan. But the reason why I bring this up, because McMillan provides a skill set with the Jets that they just simply didn't have up until today, which is a somewhat bigger wide receiver. Tyler Johnson, 6'2"-ish, 200 plus pounds, with that box out ability. He can hurt teams on the boundary. He can hurt teams over the middle of the field. Now, of course, Tyler Johnson hasn't put up a 1,400 receiving yard season or anything like that. This is, again, a depth move here for the Jets, but it's providing a skill to a room that is completely barren. Garrett Wilson, Malachi Corley, Xavier Gibson, and still technically on the roster, Allen Lazard. We'll see what happens there. I mean, that's kind of like, in my opinion, like one of the weirdest situations in the NFL, albeit it's a smaller one. Are they hoping to maybe trade Lazard to the team that Aaron Rodgers signs onto? Because I just can't see Lazard staying. Just based off of the performance last season, it kind of felt like there was a drop per game with Lazard. In some cases, there were multiple drops per game. I mean, the Jets could save a lot of money by moving on from Lazard, and it's not like it would just help the team in 2025 financially, also in 2026. So, and we also had that report that came out earlier, I believe it was actually before free agency kicked off, suggesting that the Jets allowed Lazard to go seek a trade, which kind of indicates, okay, the team is looking to move off of a player like that. We parted ways with C.J. Mosley, but Lazard is still here. So we'll see how it kind of plays out at the wide receiver position. But Tyler Johnson's the Jet. I'm actually really, really excited about it. Bigger, box out, tough, physical, hard to bring down on first contact, and left him back at Minnesota. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.